Hello, and welcome to the special edition of OUWB Net 18 with Elin Lloyd
and Telia Latowski. Our special edition is on mysterious salts. For an activity, we're going to bring out two different foods, and we would like you guys to guess which one has more salt.
For our first comparison, we have 1 ounce or 1 serving of a traditional chip.
We also have 1 ounce or 1 serving of a healthy choice chip.
Which do you think has most salt? If you chose a traditional chip, you are right. With each serving, there is 10% of your daily salt value.
With the healthy choice chip, there is 8% of your daily salt value, which is very close to the traditional chip. It is considered a healthy option because it has less calories and less fat than a traditional chip. However, it has almost the same amount of salt as the traditional chip.
For our second comparison, we have 1 slice or 1 serving of a processed American cheese.
And 1 slice or 1 serving of a gourmet Swiss cheese.
Which do you think has more salt? If you chose the processed American cheese, you are right. In each serving, it has 10% of your recommended daily salt intake.
The Swiss cheese only has 2% of your daily recommended salt intake.
A lot of people choose processed American cheese because it can have fewer calories and fat. However, you would be eating a lot more salt. For our last comparison, we have 1/2 cup or 1 serving of canned refried beans.
And 1/2 cup or 1 serving of canned green beans.
Which do you think has more salt? If you said refried beans, you are actually wrong.
In fact, green beans have 17% of your daily recommended value of salt.
Whereas refried beans have 15%.
A lot of people choose canned green beans because it has less calories than refried beans. However, you have to be aware of how much more salt you are taking.
Why are mysterious salts so important? This is how they affect our body.
This is your heart. It is an incredibly important part of you because it pumps blood to your entire body. It does this by squeezing blood through thin tubes and pipes, called blood vessels, that reach everywhere from your head all the way to your toes. Blood is very important to keep your body healthy, and it is made out of microscopic cells, salt, and water. These small cells, called red blood cells, help with the transport of nutrients and waste throughout your body. Blood vessels transport important nutrients out of the blood and into the body, and it safely removes waste from the body and into the blood. In this video, we are teaching you about hypertension, otherwise known as high blood pressure. High blood pressure occurs when the blood inside your body pushes up too much against the vessel walls. High blood pressure can happen in 2 different ways. One way is an overflow of blood that can push out on the vessel walls, causing a lot of stress and higher pressures. The second way is from fat buildup, which can cause the vessels themselves to become too narrow for blood to pass through easily. Both of these can cause an increase in blood pressure. This is bad because this high pressure in your bloodstream stresses the vessel walls and makes your heart work a lot harder to pump blood. How exactly does this work? Well, when you eat too much salt, more water enters your blood. This happens because water follows salt wherever it goes. So if there is a lot of salt in your diet and in your blood, a lot of water will also enter your blood. When there's too much water in your blood, you get higher blood pressure. Think of your blood vessels as a highway, and your blood as the cars during rush hour. If there are too many cars on the road, this can cause a lot of backup, and the road can become clogged and congested. Additionally, when you eat too much fat, fat enters the vessel walls. When too much fat builds up inside the vessel wall, it can bulge out like a balloon and block some of the blood flowing through. You can again think of your blood vessels and blood as highway in traffic. If there is a fat blockage, like a construction block for example, the blood will not be able to flow through easily, and this can cause clogging and higher pressures. Now that you know more about your heart and blood and what things like salt and fat can do to your body, it's important that you stay mindful about your diet. Make sure to watch what you eat and keep your heart happy and healthy.
Wow, I just learned so much.
I agree. I learned a lot too. And to tell us about how to avoid these mysterious salts, we have an expert from OUWB Medical School. Miss Ebony Reed, what do you have to tell us today?
Hi Teal, thanks for having me. The first recommendation I can give is to watch what you eat. You can start this task by visiting local farmers market to obtain fresh fruits and vegetables at a low cost. Once you obtain some fruits and vegetables, you can start cooking more healthy meals at home rather than eating fast food. When you eat fast food, you're consuming salts that you aren't even aware of. Most people don't know this because they cannot read nutrition labels when you're eating fast food, and sometimes they don't even read nutrition labels on foods at home. If you flip over most of your cans or bags, you can find the sodium level for every food. Sodium level tells you how much salt you are consuming per serving. Make sure you remember to look at how many servings you're consuming. Sometimes you consume more than the recommended serving. When you calculate your daily intake of salt, it should be no more than 1,500 milligrams. Here's what 1,500 milligrams looks like. According to the American Heart Association, this is the recommended value. However, according to nutrition labels, 2,300 milligrams is recommended, and even further, typically Americans eat 3,000 milligrams of sodium. The best way to avoid consuming salt that you aren't aware of is to cook your own food at home so that you can possibly replace table salt with salt alternatives such as sodium-free seasoning blends. And even more importantly, you should avoid processed foods such as cold cuts and canned soups. A little trick that companies often do is to use salt as a preservative, and this will increase your salt intake without you even knowing, one of those mysterious salts. Remember, sometimes when things are advertised as healthy, this is only considering how many calories you are consuming, and not how much salt you are consuming. The third thing I recommend is to keep your blood pressure down by exercising regularly. This will keep your heart strong and prevent it from pumping hard and therefore leading to an increased blood pressure. Experts advise that you have at least 30 minutes of exercise per day. My last recommendation is to talk to your family members. High blood pressure is something that runs in people's families. So if you talk to your family members, it could be the first sign that you may want to visit a physician if you think you may have hypertension or high blood pressure. Another sign is that it may tell you to keep your heart healthy by exercising and doing all the things that I recommended before. So I hope that you all will take these recommendations and keep a healthy heart. Back to you, Teal and Elin.
Thank you, Ebony, for all those helpful tips.
And thank you for joining us at OUW BNet 18. Tune in tonight for our exclusive interview with Sabizi, the legend.